This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
How are you doing, Jason Glick?
I'm doing just fine, John. And yourself?
Well, not too bad. Just wrapping up the rest of this August, Looking forward to all sorts of cool stuff. What are you doing?
Let's see. I have been indulging myself with Marvel's latest event a little bit later than like one would expect because yeah, I was just waiting for this to come out in softcover, but things inspired for me to actually pick it up in hardcover, and that would be Axis. Because Marvel likes to give all of its writers their shot at writing the big events, and while Bendis has hit, gotten his bite at the apple several times with House of M, Secret Invasion, and Siege, like they tend to like passing it around because you got Millar with Civil War, Greg Pak with World War Hulk, Matt Fraction with Fear Itself, Jason Aaron with Original Sin, and now Rick Remender with Axis. And the short version of all this is that Axis draws the short end of the stick as far as these Marvel crossover events go. And it also kind of makes me feel that I'm starting to get kind of over Rick Remender as a writer. Really, I mean, it's like he gave us one of the best Marvel events in recent memory with the Dark Angel saga, and that was a great story of law. It's like of loss, struggle, and humor as well. That basically that helped define his run on Uncanny X Force is one of the best in Marvel history. But it's like Remender is he struggles to find this fine line between telling a compelling story that but also he's the kind of guy who likes to break his characters down like more than anything else, and that also kind of shines through in his run on Uncanny Avengers, which I've generally enjoyed, but his 3 volume epic Avenge the Earth, it's like it was entertaining to be sure, but there were also like a lot of issues. There were also some issues that I felt it could have been done better, and it's like when all was said and done. And like Axis, it's not his final story with Marvel, but it is kind of like his last major story with the company. And overall, it's like I kind of I'm saying this to you right now. It does feel like a very cynical like event. But before I get into the event proper, I got to talk about the Axis Prelude volume of Uncanny Avengers, because it serves as a wrap up to the Avenge the Earth saga, while also setting up the building blocks for Axis itself by collecting the 9 issues of Magneto and the 2 issues that build into the crossover proper. The epilogue issue to Avenge the Earth should have been collected in in the previous volume, because it would have made a lot more sense to have it there than here, because it is just all falling action here, and it shows you like how everyone's adapting to the changes from that event. Sunfire becoming a being of pure cosmic power, Havoc being horribly scarred, and also the twisty and issues with Rogue, which all I can say is God damn it, Remender. I liked how Mike Carey had Rogue finally gain control of her powers to the point where she can actually touch people and not have to worry about reflexively absorbing their power, and also just the fact that she was finally alone in her head after all these years. Now Remender walks this back to the point where Rogue now is forced to absorb people's powers just by touching them, and she's also got Wonder Man's personality in her head now. So it's like, oh man, it's like we've done this before. We don't need to see it again. I liked how Carey moved the character past this stuff, and we don't need to see him doing this stuff right here. It's like it's just more annoying than anything else, and it just kind of shows you, hey, like Remender breaks characters down, and that's what he's doing with Rogue. And even though he tries to put a positive spin on Havoc and the Wasp's relationship, and Kang, no, Immortus shows up. Says, hey, your kid's been kidnapped, but things aren't, it's like all bad right now. And then completely shifts over to the Red Skull, plotting his concentration camp in Genosha, and it's kind of it's really a disappointing mixed bag right there. Then you get to the issues from Magneto and and Uncanny Avengers, which set up the crossover. And well, spoiler warning: the things I like most about Axis are the fact that after finally reading it, I can catch up on Cullen Bunn's Magneto, because he's got a really good handle on the character as being um, in his current form as someone who's been depowered and now kind of the Punisher for mutant rights, but still it's very much keeping within what's been established for the character, and he's got a great handle on continuity without making it feel overbearing. I mean, when Magneto is being chased through his mind by the Nazi Hitzig, he keeps jumping towards familiar comic touchstones in the past, like it's like when he was confronted with his like it's like his son from from Quicksilver and that one Inhuman girl Luna. Yeah. So it's like, and also just like when the Chicken Sentinels came to decimate Genosha. I mean, there's some good stuff in Cullen Bunn's Magneto that I liked seeing collected here, and I was glad that but also it's collected in Uncanny Avengers, so it's kind of like I'm buying like the same volume for same stories. But hey, thanks to the magic of Comic Con's half off bins and Amazon's bizarrely discounted prices for the last couple of weeks, I don't know what's going on there, but Amazon's has some great deals going on. But I was able to get both volumes for like about half their cover price. But as for the but while Bunn's issues are it's like our it's like our solemn character studies focused on Magneto's solo efforts to try and free Genosha from the Skull's concentration camps, and failing as a result, Remender goes for the big superhero action route, and eventually has Magneto. It's taking out the Red Skull. It's like after after the team just finally gets its act together, but turns out that killing the Red Skull, not the way things should have gone, and just like killing his physical body only freed his mind to become the Red Onslaught. It's like basically like if you remember Onslaught from the '90s Marvel crossover, there you go. It's like he's got that, and he's got a bunch of tentacles as well, so he means business. Also in this volume is the Uncanny Avengers annual, which has some fun bits of self-parody as Mojo tries to rebuild his network standing with the Mojoverse, and Remender kind of descends into comic-style self-parody as well. It's fun, but it's kind of only interesting for its meta-narrative about the difficulties of creating comics in a shared superhero universe overseen by a corporate entity like Marvel. So, not bad, not terrible either. No, not particularly good either. Anyway, but as for Axis itself, well, okay, there's a decent idea at its core in that Axis is kind of like a modern spin on the whole, the good guys become bad, and bad guys become good. But I don't know. It's like I'm not sure how this could have been spun better, but in Remender's hands, it just feels really cynical and ultimately fairly unimaginative. Because I mean, okay. The best part about this event are the first 3 issues, which basically have the Avengers and the X-Men squaring off against the Red Onslaught, and it's a good heroes face off against an unstoppable threat, and the only way they can win is by having the bad guys come and help out. Because after it's like while the Red Onslaught is busy fostering World War hate by basically provoking hate, racism, all that bad stuff throughout the world. It's like our heroes have to stop him from projecting that. And hey, it's like and so Magneto, when he gets a chance, he bugs off, leaving Iron Man in the lurch as he does it. But he gets the villains in the form of like the likes of Loki, Sabretooth, Mystique, Doctor Doom, like those, and Carnage, best of all, really. And it's like yeah, it's like first three issues are fun. It's like are fun, like heroes facing an insurmountable threat that they eventually manage to take out through magical what's-a-jiggers. And the only thing is, this magical what's-a-jigger, masterminded by Doom and the Scarlet Witch, basically uses chaos magic to invert all the personalities. So all the heroes that were there are basically now just completely freed of their morality, and all the villains that were there now actually have a moral compass to observe. And here's where things start going off the rails. Because the heroes, I mean, they just really start acting like dicks more than anything else. I mean, just like the hero, they talk about Sam Wilson as new Captain America starts talking about, oh, this fog was lifted and now I see things more clearly. It's like, and everyone else, you feel the same way. And like, Avengers like, oh yeah, we're complete dicks now too. It's like, and the X-Men are saying, oh no, like Xavier's dream was complete bullshit. And it's like, now we're gonna like appear to Apocalypse's survival of the fittest, because at the epicenter of this switch was also Evan, or Kid Apocalypse from Remender's run. Introduced in Remender's Uncanny Avengers run, but now that he's been inverted by the switch, he's, instead of being like this kid who's struggling against being Apocalypse, now he's got all Apocalypse's personality quirks run into the fore. Now he's just adopted the mantle of Apocalypse from here on out. So basically you've got like heroes being dicks and villains trying to stop the heroes. And also it's worth noting that while I gave Tom Taylor a lot of shit for his Superior Iron Man volume that I reviewed a little while ago, it looks like in the pages of Axis, he was just following what Remender set out. So basically it was Remender who set up the idea of Tony offering Extremis. It's like as a paid subscription app plan through your phone, and taking on Daredevil in the process. So yeah, it's like Taylor had to deal with this setup, but in the end he still couldn't render it any better than Remender did. But still, it's like that's the problem. I mean, like, all these heroes, I mean, they don't do anything interesting. They just act like dicks, and I get the feeling that if the heroes were kind of like free of their moral constraints, they would be taking on trying to make a better world. It's like, hey, saying this is what we think will make the world better, and we're going to do it whether you like it or not. We don't get that here. We just get standard supervillain bullshit. And like some hero, and then some villains just like getting a conscience as well, like Mystique finally not acting like a bitch after all these years, Loki not being able to lie, and perhaps best of all, Carnage, Spider-Man's evil symbiote villain, acting like a hero, like a good old Southern boy hero. And the best parts of this book are seeing Spider-Man react to Carnage's heroism, in the sense that after he's even saved at one point, Spider-Man says, "Can't quite get mouth to say thank you, Carnage," and that stuff is fun, but there's not nearly enough of it over the course of the event to really make it worthwhile. I mean, if you're like me, and I said this before, you are invested in the narrative of the Marvel Universe, then yes, you are going to buy Axis at some point. If not in hardcover like it is now, then when eventually the softcover volume comes out, just so you can know what's going on here. And as it turns out, Tony's villain shift that was also mentioned in the course of Hickman's Avengers run. It turns out he did bring that on himself, and I still would have liked some see some effort by his friends to try and get their comrade in arms back to the way they knew him, the hero that they know him to be. We don't actually see that, and that's kind of disappointing. But Axis overall, it's like it, and in the end, it's like you get to feel it's like the heroes, it's like are basically like subject to the mercy of the villains who want to be better, but no, but ultimately like sacrifice their newfound morality in order to change things back to the way they were, and I don't know. It's like it just feels like that. Is this how Remender really feels? That in the end, the only people capable of true heroism are villains who have been mind shift, who have been who have had their minds manipulated by forces beyond their control. That's kind of disappointing. But considering what I've seen in his creator-owned work, then that doesn't actually feel too far off the mark, and it's just really disappointing. And ultimately, yeah, yeah, Axis easily one of the least of Marvel's it's like big events, and the art. Oh yeah, the art. It's handled by the first 6 issues are handled by Adam Kubert, Lineal Yu, and Terry Dodson for 2 issues each. And for these 2 issues, all the artists provide solid work. Even though much as I like Dodson, his it's like his style isn't really all that consistent with Kubert and Yu's detailed work. Kubert and Yu also provide an issue each for the for the final third, but like you can tell that they're rushing against deadlines there. And then the final issue, oh man. I think the initial plan was to have Jim Chung illustrate the whole thing, but Chung's parts clearly really rushed to the point where Yu, Hubert, and Dodson all had to pitch in, and it's clear that all the artists were rushed were fighting against deadline pressure right there. It's wow. It's like it is not something that either that any of the artists, that final issue is not something that any of the artists I imagine will want to have on their resume. It's like in the end. So like I said, Axis only worth reading if you're invested in the ongoing narrative of the Marvel universe like I am. But now that since I've actually read it, I could actually catch up on the tie-in issues featured in Cullen Bunn's Magneto, and these were quite good, and I can see why he's being handed Uncanny X-Men for the Marvel relaunch in October. He's got his version of like a depowered Magneto fighting for mutant rights is still quite compelling, especially in the sense that he's that Magneto and his morality is a lot more gray than you'd expect from a superhero or X-Men in general. I mean, it's like volumes 2 and 3 have lots of good stories. Like from him taking on a caged Predator X mutant fighting match in Hong Kong to a mutant growth hormone ring in in Southland of the United States of America. And also just showing you how how he got to Genosha and how he rounded up this group of villains to help save the day against the fight against the Red Onslaught in Axis. And even though he's essentially fighting for mutants, he's also quite compromised in the process, in the sense that he also realizes that this mutant growth hormone can actually help restore his powers to the pre-Phoenix intervention levels. But so there's a certain amount of self-glorification there, and also just moral compromise. So I mean, especially when he takes the fight to Shield in volume 3, I has to deal with one of the nightmare from his past brought to life. So these 2 volumes of Magneto, volumes 2 and 3, Reversals and Shadow Games, quite good, and I it's like, and I'm looking forward to seeing. And even though there's only one volume left, which is basically a Last Days story tied into Secret Wars, it's like it's like I'm looking forward. It's like I'm looking forward to reading about it, and also just seeing what Bunn has in store for the character, because apparently he's going to be part of his Uncanny run as well. So even though the series is only going to run for 4 volumes, Magneto's story under Bunn is not quite over, and that's definitely a good thing. So overall, Axis, only one for the completists. Magneto, um, definitely like one for those who like it's like who like their X-Men stories. It's like different as well. It's like different and character driven. It's good stuff, and it's like and also as a final bit, I liked the development of Magneto's human associate Briar Rowley as you find out just exactly what her deal is. It's like in volume 3, and that hey, it turns out even though Magneto is a mutant and he's all about mutant rights, he's all about getting some of that human booty as well. Good times. So, um, John, any thoughts on your end about all this?
You're getting that booty. So you think it falls a little short of your expectations, or?
I had heard that Axis wasn't all that good, and that was why I didn't buy it as soon as it came out. But I had a friend of mine tell me like, yeah, it's not bad, and then eventually I saw it on Amazon. It finally came down to a decent price, and plus, well, it's like it was also kind of like after reading Superior Iron Man after I got the volume for half off at Comic Con, I was kind of like wondering about the circumstances that turned Tony into a villain. So yeah, I had like lots of impetus to read this, but it's just kind of like just needed the right all the bits about the ongoing narrative of the Marvel universe eventually dictated that I read this now, and then the discount offered by Amazon basically made me go, okay, I can afford to do that as well.
Okay. Well, cool. All right. Well, yeah. So, outside of that, I really don't have any other thoughts.
Go read Bunn's Magneto. It's good stuff.
What's that?
Go read Cullen Bunn's Magneto. It's good stuff.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know what we're going to be talking about next week?
I'm thinking of digging into something else. I got the final volume of at Comic Con. That would be actually someone else who has done a very offbeat X-Men story that I've talked about here. That would be Cy Spurrier's 4 volumes of Crossed, Wish You Were Here, which shows that hey, it turns out that he can actually do the Crossed concept justice, and it's not just Garth Ennis who can do this stuff as well.
All right. We'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, laters.